Yes.
Leaker?
Yes.
Terry?
Resolution 12-173, a resolution to provide for a notice of hearing on and preliminary approving proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2012 street improvement project and taking of bids thereon, as presented.
Second.
Discussion?
I do. I'm a little confused when I have this final revised capital improvement plan that looks like this, and then tonight we have this. And so I was just wanting a little clarification. Are we now doing all the projects on this revised one? We're doing the downtown, the 600 block of North 5th overlay, Woodland Lane Drive, Bluffs. Are we doing all of these? Because I can't really tell that from the sheets that we have here.
I can't either, other than I know I can identify the sidewalk extension. And the Glenwood Drive is, in other words, I need you to call it in English what we looked at.
Can you divide these up and kind of say which is which?
Ed, you-
The first one, labeled Glenwood Drive, is just that.
Okay.
The second one contains the Bluffs remedial drainage improvements, I believe, and concrete panel replacement program, various locations. And Glenwood Drive, I should take that back, also includes some Kalon Drive and Meadow Lane panel replacements.
Okay.
And then the HMA, which would be base bid 3, is the hot mix asphalt, which includes the overlays. And this is in there.
That's it, those three.
That doesn't. And there might be something wrong with that number, because that seems awful high for the work that we were looking at doing. And then number 4, as Terry mentioned, is the safe route to schools sidewalk portion.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Well, and the schools portion was close to what we had predicted of the 50,000, so I don't have a problem with that one. And then the Kalon and Meadow, I mean, we have 3 different, well, we have a couple subtotals, and this is different than what I saw earlier in the week. So are we putting sidewalk in? Are we just approving to okay this, and then later we decide whether we're really spending the money for the sidewalk?
It's an alternate bid.
And these are engineers' estimates, and then when the
Right.
bids come in, those get compared to the engineers' estimates, and they could be lower, higher, whatever, but all those numbers will be final numbers at that point. These are just what the engineers project based on their annual calculations. They work with it each year.
So, so if we approve this, that makes way for us to borrow the money for this? No?
No.
Doesn't do any of that? Okay. So we're just approving it so that we can now take bids?
We can go out for bids, and you still have the right to reject or accept any bids that come in. But this is to set the public hearings for these contractors to come in and bid on these different items.
So we're not doing the downtown sidewalk area.
That's
We are
in
doing
one
it.
of them.
Which one is that in?
And with that,
That is in
I thought it
Base
was
bid
in the
2.
second one.
Second
Yeah.
one?
2.
Okay.
Base bid 2.
Okay. So we are doing everything on the list that was dated May 14th,
That everything
2012.
was agreed upon on the For the council. Yes.
Okay. And so I added those up, and it was $780,000 without the upgrade to Glenwood. And so I subtracted the Glenwood, and with Glenwood, we've gone from $780,000 to $1,110,287 and $287, and which I think is that's a huge increase. And then I took the 780,000 and added just the increase for the difference for the Glenwood, and that's $1,014,848. So there's still about 100,000 in here that I can't figure out where it's going, but that'll probably work itself out. I just wanted to have it on record that instead of $780,000 for our street improvement program, we are now possibly going to spend $1,110,287. So that's all I wanted.
Well, I have a question on this.
we did.
Active alternative 1, is this totally to do with just the sidewalks, and is that one side, both side? Because they're gonna have to remove trees, earth excavation, embankment, all that. Is that just the additional cost for the sidewalk?
The 59,814.50, that's the additive alternative for the sidewalks, yes.
Is that a sidewalk on both sides of the street, one side of the
One.
street?
From what I understood. But if you heard from most of the residents up there, they don't want the sidewalk anyway. So,
I heard that. The alternative 2, is that if we close the whole street and do the whole street, but if we don't want to do that, the alternative 2 is to close one lane and do one lane at a time. It's $50,000 alternative to close one lane at a time. Is that my understanding of what that is?
right.
An additional 50,000 to be added for that particular staging method, yes.
Any other discussion?
Well, I would like to bring up a sore subject, but as far as the Glenwood project, I still fear that there's a conflict of interest for Lane, so I will just formally ask him to recuse himself, just to be on the record.
We've already discussed that. We've already got an opinion from the attorney, which you don't believe anyway, so
Right.
it doesn't make a difference. It's not a conflict. And until you can come up with a legal opinion to show me that it is a conflict, then I don't expect him to excuse himself from anything.
I understand that.
So it is not a conflict.
And I'll just make a comment personally and answer that personally too, that obviously if I thought it was a conflict, I wouldn't have voted in the first place. And I guess I see there's a difference between living on a street and voting on something than obviously having a conflict of interest. If I've used the example, if my son Shane was old enough to have a concrete company and was bidding on this particular project, that would